The Cold War. Tensions and events: a global power struggle. The Cold War, spanning roughly from the end of World War II in 1945 to the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991, was a period characterized by intense geopolitical tensions, ideological rivalry, and military build-up between the United States-led Western Bloc and the Soviet Union-led Eastern Bloc. This video delves into the origins, key events, and defining moments of the Cold War, examining how it shaped global politics, military strategy, and international relations. Origins of the Cold War: ideological and political divide. The roots of the Cold War lay in the stark ideological differences between the capitalist democracies of the West, led by the United States, and the communist state of the Soviet Union. The ideological divide became apparent during World War II when cooperation between the Western Allies and the Soviet Union against Nazi Germany was overshadowed by mutual suspicions and competing visions for post-war Europe and the world. 1. Yalta and Potsdam Conferences, 1945. The Yalta Conference in February 1945 and the Potsdam Conference in July-August 1945 were pivotal in shaping the post-war world order and laying the groundwork for the Cold War. At Yalta, Allied leaders, Roosevelt, Churchill, and Stalin, discussed the division of Germany and the establishment of spheres of influence in Eastern Europe. However, tensions over the future of Poland and other Eastern European countries persisted, leading to distrust and suspicion. 2. Division of Germany and Berlin Airlift, 1948-1949. Following World War II, Germany was divided into 4 occupation zones controlled by the United States, Soviet Union, Britain, and France. In 1948, tensions escalated when the Western Allies introduced a new currency, Deutsche Mark, in their zones, prompting the Soviet Union to block land access to West Berlin, which was located deep within the Soviet-controlled zone of East Germany. In response, the Western powers organized the Berlin Airlift, 1948-1949, a massive airlift operation to supply West Berlin with food and supplies, demonstrating their commitment to West Berlin's survival and defiance of Soviet intimidation. 3. Korean War, 1950-1953. The Korean War erupted in 1950 when North Korean forces, backed by the Soviet Union and China, invaded South Korea, which was supported by the United Nations and primarily the United States. The conflict quickly escalated into a proxy war between the Communist bloc and the Western Allies, with devastating consequences. The war ended in 1953 with an armistice that divided Korea along the 38th parallel, solidifying the division between North and South Korea that persists to this day. 4. Cuban Missile Crisis, 1962. One of the most perilous moments of the Cold War occurred during the Cuban Missile Crisis in October 1962. The crisis was triggered when the United States discovered that the Soviet Union had secretly deployed nuclear missiles in Cuba, within striking distance of major U.S. cities. Tensions escalated dramatically as U.S. President John F. Kennedy and Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev engaged in a tense standoff. The crisis was resolved through diplomatic negotiations, with the Soviet Union agreeing to withdraw its missiles from Cuba in exchange for the U.S. pledging not to invade Cuba and removing its missiles from Turkey. 5. Space race and arms race. Throughout the Cold War, both superpowers engaged in a fierce competition in technological and military spheres. The space race, initiated with the Soviet launch of Sputnik in 1957, saw milestones such as Yuri Gagarin becoming the first human in space, 1961, and Neil Armstrong's moon landing, 1969, showcasing technological prowess and national prestige. Meanwhile, the arms race led to the development of increasingly powerful nuclear arsenals, with both sides amassing intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, capable of delivering nuclear warheads, heightening global anxieties about the possibility of nuclear war. Legacy of the Cold War. Global implications and enduring tensions. The Cold War had profound global implications, shaping international alliances, economic policies, and military strategies for decades. It divided the world into rival blocs, led to proxy wars in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, and fueled ideological conflicts that persisted beyond the collapse of the Soviet Union. The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 and the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991 marked the end of the Cold War era, but its legacy continues to influence geopolitics, international relations, and global security in the 21st century. In conclusion, The Cold War was a defining chapter in modern history characterized by ideological confrontation, military brinkmanship, and global uncertainty. It demonstrated the destructive potential of ideological divisions and nuclear weapons while also showcasing human resilience, diplomacy, and the quest for peace amidst international tensions.